everyone! So first of all, happy Easter, and today we will talk about the things that you will need to move your horse. So I have moved my horse personally a couple times, and then I just want to actually tell you about the time that I had to move her for a long haul. So we're talking about 6 hours here, and it was between Ottawa area to Toronto. So I will show you exactly what I use and why I use them, just to make sure that my horse would be safe. So let's start about like the head protection. We'll go head to tail here. So yes, the head protection. There's the first thing you will need is basically a head bumper or horse helmet, if you will. So you see on the side, this is what it looks like, and then inside it's actually like wool or fleece and leather on the outside. So I purchased this just because it was my first time moving her for so long. And I just wanted to make sure that she would be good for the long haul and not bump her head. So basically what it does is it's protecting the pole, so the top of the head of the horse, against the head banging on the top of the trailer. So this worked really good. My horse took it no problem. I wasn't sure about the ear opening. I wasn't sure if she would like it or hate it, but what's important is when you buy something new and you're not sure if your horse is gonna like it, is to get them to wear it a couple times. So I for sure I did the fittings with her and make sure that everything was fitting all right, but I also left it on her for a few minutes at a time, just so like that she gets used to the feeling of this and she doesn't find it awkward or anything like that. So that's what I did. The other thing I bought, so there's two things in one here. So it's a halter. It's just a regular halter, made by Weaver, and then I made sure that they had like the leather strap on the top, just because if ever the horse spooks or panics, like that, you're sure that they can break free. Just break the leather and break free if ever it's needed at that time. So what I did is basically I added this on top of the halter. So I'll just show you quickly. It's not very complicated. So you just open one side of the halter, and there's little holes. So you just pass it through. All the way. Perfect. So it looks like this. So now you have the headpiece and then the noseband and everything. So it's fairly easy to put it through, and like I said, if ever your horse was to spook or anything, like the leather would break, and those little leather pieces are actually replaceable. You can replace them for fairly cheap, like $10 I think they're worth, so it really helps. And so yeah, I opted for this option. There's also some halters that are sold with like the little sheepskin all over. It's just that they were so pricey, and at the time I couldn't afford it. I think it was like a halter with the little fuzz all over is probably like $200. And yeah, I just thought it was really expensive. So what I ended up doing is I bought a kit of basically removable little pieces. So just little pieces of fleece here, or wool. So, and you just add it on top of the halter, and like that, you're sure that, you know, it's not gonna rub against your horse. That's basically the reason why people use it. Is like while in transport, it might just rub on your horse's skin and then just create like little open wounds. So you want to make sure that they're protected, especially for 6 hours. And actually, this worked fine. For 6 hours, she had not even a scratch on her. So yeah, and then I think these little things, the whole kit was under $10. So like that, it makes you something cheaper. The halter itself, I think, is $30 plus 10, so it's like under $50, and then you have like a halter you can use for transport. So that worked great. The thing that was really the most expensive part was actually the protection boots, and I went for actual like shipping boots, as opposed to, you can do like different things. Some people just put like a little cotton pad and then just wrap it around. I just thought that this was a bit more ergonomic for the horse, so it's shaped to a horse's leg, basically. It protects all the way to the knee, so that's the kneecap here, and all the way up to the hoof. So I just thought this was actually the best option. They are fairly pricey. This is the Rambo Diamante collection, and they were $160. So, but yeah, for 6 hours of hauling, you just want to make sure you don't gamble too much, especially with the legs, just because it's one of the part of the horse that's actually the most fragile. So you want to make sure that the horse is not going to arrive lame or anything. So I thought it was a good investment. So I'll just show you what the padding is. So, just so you can see inside. So it's like a silky polyester inside, and it has a cushion, so it's like there's actually some depth to it. And yeah, it worked really great. The boots came up in one piece, and my horse came out in one piece as well, so that worked really great. Also super easy to clean. Just have to put like a little wet cloth and you just wipe it. Basically it was just the bottom part that was actually a little bit dirty from the shavings from the trailer. So really worth the investment. But like I said, if you're doing a short trip, you can use, some people use little wraps with the bands, like elasticized bands. Some they use like their or back on track type of boot to ship. There's different options, but like it was in the summer and I want to make sure that it was cool enough, good enough for her to make the whole haul without having any issues. And finally, the last piece, well, one of the last pieces, it's actually like a hay bag. This hay bag was $70, but I think it was on sale when I bought it. So just make sure your horse has some hay available. And yeah, like that, it's pretty easy for the horse to grab. The holes are pretty big, and it has some ventilation all over, so it's not gonna become bad or anything. And that was great. The last thing she had is basically, I had a bin, like a plastic bin, with her essential, which were at least, I think she had ration of food for 3 days, like her pellets and all that was in the bin for 3 days. She had also a safety kit just in case, because I didn't know if the company that I hired for the hauling would have something just in case. I don't know, she's bleeding for some reason, something went wrong and they needed like something quick, so I just wanted to make sure, so I put one inside of it. She had also a cooler, like a cooling blanket. She had her summer fly sheet and fly veil in there, and a few treats. So basically that's what she shipped with, just because I had no opportunity for me to move at the same time as my horse. So we were moving from Ottawa to Toronto, and my horse was to go first, way before me, actually like 2 weeks before me, by the time I pack all my boxes and I'm ready to move. So we just made sure that she would be good as soon as she arrived here in Toronto, and I informed the people like what she's eating, what's the ratio, how much, what kind of supplements she has, and all of this, so like that it would be good to go for the first 2 weeks. And it worked out good. The other thing she also had is a tail bag, basically. So it was a neoprene at the top with 3 little Velcro straps around, and then at the bottom it was like a polyester cover, and then that's just to cover the tail and make sure that there's no issues with like the tail being ripped off by the trailer, the motion or whatever. So that worked great. I just ended up having it stolen, so I never recovered that part, but it's like it was worth, I think it was $10 just for the tail wrap, so it's nothing. I'm just glad she arrived in one piece after 6 hours, and that everything worked fine and everything was pretty good. She was good, my stuff was good, so I was really happy with that. The other thing you want to make sure is just if you're shipping and you're not going to be there, just make sure you send them everything they will need for the first bit. So I sent her also a rain blanket just because it was in the summer, so it's not like she needed like heavyweight blankets and all of that. She just needed like her summer stuff. So she needed fly veil, fly mask, and her rain blanket, and that's what she shipped with. We didn't need to bring a saddle, bridle, or anything like that. She was good to go. She just had to stay there for 2 weeks, and it was good. What I would recommend though is, if you can, just make a trip before or ahead to visit a couple barns before you actually ship your horse, to know where they're going to be located, what the facility looks like, if they have any rules, sign the paperwork, make sure that you have filled out all the information you needed for that barn to work. Some require the Coggins test, some require different vaccines, so you want to make sure that all of that is good and the papers are signed and they're ready to receive her. In my case, basically I went around for some barns, and the barn I was supposed to receive my horse ended up turning on me and just refusing her at the last minute. So I had the trailer set up for 6 in the morning to get her, and I had literally less than 24 hours to find her another barn, which was really, really tricky. The reason why we ended up being declined is basically because my horse has shoes on all four. And although I mentioned it to the lady that tore me her barn multiple times, she didn't seem to have pay attention to that detail. And basically, since she usually turns her horses all together, it would have been an issue for safety for her horses, and that's why she ended up declining at the last minute. So now every time I'm shopping for a barn, that's the first thing I mention. I make sure that they understand she needs an individual turnout, and that she has shoes on all four, and then like that it goes a bit more smoothly. So the barn actually ended up receiving her, had no issues whatsoever. They did have a setup for individual turnout and all of that. And unfortunately, that barn, I didn't have the chance to see what the conditions were like. So I was willing to pay a little bit more for the actual place and make sure that it was safe for my horse. So I ended up going a bit more over my budget for the first 2 months to make sure that she was safe. And that barn also had the great advantage of having a camera webcam. So it was really, really great. Because, yeah, just throwing your horse there, 6-hour haul in the unknown is pretty actually scary. And it created a lot of anxiety. So I'm actually just glad that she made it all the way here to Toronto. And the lady that I was working with for that barn was really helpful. She was giving me news. Oh, your horse is doing good. I could call her for any reason or whatsoever. And she was always helpful, and the webcam also helped. So just the 2 weeks that we're boxing and prepping everything to move like that, I was sure that I could see her whenever I wanted. I could see her like overnight, and then I knew when she was in turnout and make sure that everything's good, like she doesn't have any like colics or anything like that. And if I wake up in the middle of the night just because I'm anxious, I want to know if everything's good, I know I have the camera to check up on her and make sure she's good, and then in the morning I can call at any time, and the staff was really, really great, and that worked out perfectly. So yeah, just a heads up, if you're looking to change your horse from one barn to the other, make sure you have the proper shopping and go around, visit, ask the questions you want to ask. Make sure you have a plan B if ever you're doing a long haul like this. I think that's what I would do if I had to redo it again, is make sure that I have a plan B. And make sure that everybody understands what the care is needed for your horse. If your horse has special needs, if let's say it needs some injections or anything like that, make sure that they're ready, they know exactly what they're doing, they're knowledgeable, they've been doing this for a bit, you know, and the barn is clean. You want to make sure it's all clean. And that the staff seem to be happy to work there is also always super helpful. So that's my tips and trick to like find a new barn, and also how to hold your horse for a long time. Yeah, so that's basically the essential. In my case, it was in the summer, so no need for blankets or anything, and the trailer was covered as well, so that really helped out. I asked also for pictures all along the way, and people were really helpful. They sent me videos, they sent me pictures, just to make sure everything went smooth, and they understood that, you know, for me it was really important that, you know, I stay in touch with what the progress is, because I won't see her for a while. So that was actually overall it was a great experience, minus the barn switching thing in the last minute, but overall it was really good. So I wish you good luck with your hauling, and make sure that you are prepared, and that the staff that's going to receive your horse is also prepared. It's always the best way to go. I wish you the best of luck and a happy Easter once again, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave me a comment and subscribe to my channel, so like that I can hear a bit more from you and you can see all my awesome videos. Thank you again.